All righty.
Good evening, everybody.
Oops. 1 minute, I gotta turn my phone off because it will ring.
All right, good morning, good evening, everybody. I call to order the Select Board meeting for Wednesday, March 4th, 2026. Let's begin with roll call from my right.
Are you going this way?
Yeah, mix it up.
Yeah, I'm Jack.
I'm Mike.
Dan?
Mary.
I'm Dick Moran.
Let's begin with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, everybody. All right, so we are going to start the meeting with the public comment for items that are not on the agenda, and I'd like to just do what I did last week, which is start from the people online to see if anybody online wants to raise their hand and have public comment for items that are not on the agenda. 2 hands raised. Awesome. Let's go with, you said 2 hands are raised? Okay. If you need a moment, we can just move to folks in. Can you do that again in the audio? Oh, okay. So we're opening a public comment for items that are not on the agenda, and I wanted to open it up to the folks that are on the Zoom meeting first. So please raise your hand if you have a question, or I should say a public comment. Seeing none, I'd like to open it up to the audience. Does anyone have public comment for items that are not on the agenda? Please step up to the podium. Okay. So the chair would entertain a motion to suspend the select board meeting and open up a public hearing to review the license renewal for an adult use cannabis retail store submitted by Lindsay Holden of Pine Tree, Maine 2, LLC, DBA Landrace Cannabis Company located at 415 Hollis Road.
So moved.
I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right.
So the code officer went out and did his inspection. He didn't have any comments. We haven't received any complaints from anyone about Landrace. So I would entertain a motion to approve their license renewal, unless anybody in the audience or on Zoom have a comment.
Okay.
So we need a second.
So we need a second.
Well, I think we got to end, don't we have to close
We
the
have to
public
end it,
hearing?
yeah,
That's
yeah.
true, yeah. Yes.
So I make a motion to close the public hearing.
I second it?
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, so we're out of the public hearing, and now we are going to, the chair will accept a motion to vote on the acceptance of this license renewal.
So moved. Do you want me to read the whole thing? I vote to renew the license renewal for an adult use cannabis store submitted by Lindsay Holden, Pine Tree, Maine 2, LLC, DBA Landrace Cannabis Company, located at 415 Hollis Road.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right. All right, we'll keep it going here. I would entertain a motion to suspend the select board meeting and open up a public hearing to review the license renewal for medical cannabis caregiver retail store submitted by Alan Carrier of Green Roots Company, LLC, located at 64 Hollis Road.
So moved.
Second.
All right.
Again, we got a report from the code officer that they'd gone out and done their inspection, had no findings that were negative. And we haven't received any information from anybody in the public, so I open for any discussion from the public or the board.
Seeing none? Okay, Chair would entertain a motion to close the public hearing and reopen the Select Board meeting to vote on the acceptance of the license renewal.
Motion to close.
So, a second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. So again, Chair would entertain a motion to accept the license renewal for medical cannabis caregiver retail store submitted by Alan Carrier of Green Roots Company LLC located at 64 Hollis Road.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. All right, on to old business. Okay, yeah, on to old business. We have the minutes to approve for 2/4/2026. I have them right here. Chair would entertain a motion to approve the minutes for 2/4/2026.
So moved.
Second.
Was everybody present, Mike?
Mary Hoffman, John, Roger, yeah, everyone was
Okay.
present.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. New municipal town office updates. Jack, nothing? Okay.
Looks like we got blinds.
No, I don't have anything at this time. We're still moving forward with the water unless Mary received anything in between
Pardon?
on the water as far as that with the town
We
hall.
did get a contract
Right,
from them for $10,000 to upgrade the water.
yeah.
And we got a letter that we need to do one more PFAS test,
PFAS, okay.
but we'll take care of that, you know.
Okay.
It's got to be before June or August, so we'll
right.
take care of that. Dick? You
I
got
have
yours, you got your blinds.
Well, yes, and we do. All on the southeast windows.
I noticed a difference.
And what's beautiful about it is in the morning or evening, I don't have to move my computer screen.
I think sonically it's better. I don't know if the audience feels any different. I feel like with the blinds, it is sonically better. It doesn't feel even, it feels better, less echoey. Does anyone else?
Still pretty echoey.
Still pretty echoey?
We can't really understand what you guys are saying.
And if you're like too close to the mic, it can just mumble.
Let's fix that.
Okay. But then it echoes so much,
How
I
about
feel
now?
like I'm shouting.
Yeah, I know.
Okay, so I
But
have to go
it
this
feels like
close?
I'm shouting at you, and I don't want to shout at you.
Feel free to yell at us sooner. Just stop us if you can't understand. Happy to stop. Okay, so this is better. I just don't want to be, I will try to do this. All right, so we are on to just an announcement about the lights on Bar Mills Bridge. Per the Maine DOT, upon inspection of their electricians, the lights are not working because of an issue with expansion joints on the bridge. It will be closer looked at and fixed in the spring.
And my understanding is that it's only the Hollis lights that don't work, but
So Buxton is okay. All right, great. Next thing we're going to talk about is the policy number 5. Terry, this is for you, buddy. Decision, I'm going to just read this out. Bear with me here. Decision authority, this is policy number 5, and it's called closures of municipal buildings. So the decision authority, the closure of town services, including parks and recreation, is determined by the town manager following consultation with the road commissioner or the state police. During winter storms, if the road commissioner is unavailable, the snowplow contractor will be consulted. If the town manager is absent, their designated acting authority will make the determination. Notification procedures. When a closure or any modified operating status is ordered, the town manager or designated staff member will notify 2 television outlets and post the announcement on the town website. Any modified operating status must be communicated to the Recreation Department by the town manager by 5 a.m. And I believe, Bennett, if I'm not mistaken, if you're signed up for notifications on the website, they're going to receive a text notification or email notification as well, correct? There we go. Awesome. I mentioned that to the other meeting. It's very, very cool. It works great. I've seen a bunch of different notices come into my phone. Going on, employee travel in attendance. Travel during inclement weather is an individual decision. Employees who elect not to report to work when we're open due to hazardous conditions may use accrued vacation, sick leave, earned paid leave, or take unpaid time. Compensation during closures. Full-time employees scheduled to work will receive the regular pay when town services, including parks and recreation, are closed. If an early closure occurs, employees scheduled for the affected period will be paid for the remaining scheduled hours. Fire Rescue Department exception. The fire rescue personnel do not receive additional compensation or time off as a result of town closures. Public safety and emergencies. If there is a threat to safety of the general public, the closure of any municipal building will be at the call of the town manager or their designated acting authority. If in the event of the emergency when the public safety officials order evacuation, closure, sheltering in place, or lockdowns of any buildings, compliance is mandatory for all town officials and employees. Closure information and other pertinent information will be posted on the town's website and local television stations as soon as available. All right, so that is the newly revised policy number 5. We probably want to hear from the public. Yeah, let's open this for questions or comments from the public at this point for policy number 5, everything I just wrote.
Terry Walters. I guess I was the one who initiated this, so thank you for addressing it. I initiated this reform, I guess you'd say, so I appreciate you addressing it. Whereas the town hall doesn't open to 9 o'clock, I don't think you really have to have Dick notifying people at 5 o'clock. But
Well, the reason is because because Parks and Rec needs to know that it's going to be closed if we're closing everybody by 5.
okay, it just seems awfully early. But
Yeah.
I think it's
But
good
they start
for the parents, right?
They start coming here at 6:30, and they have to notify the parents. So.
okay, thank you.
And the only problem I have, and I don't know if we want to think about it a little bit, is the part that says, any modified operating status must be communicated to the rec department by the town manager by 5 a.m. And a modified operating status would be, for instance, if the school has a 2-hour delay, the rec department would need to know that. So I don't know if that needs to be moved someplace else or if it's okay where it is, if people understand that that's what it means.
Any other comment?
But I guess it reads okay, it just, Or if we had an early closure because of a storm.
I don't know. I think to me, it's pretty clear, but
Okay.
I see what you're saying. I don't know if it's, town manager, any comment? What do you think?
Well, I'm still dealing with 5 a.m.
Come on, you're up at 4, I'm sure.
I'm old, but I do try to sleep all night.
Got it.
Rob and I are in touch with each other whenever there's a storm quite regularly, night before and during. I don't see any problems with that. And if there's a change in schedule, he's connected as well with the schools and with the varying other towns, and we have that discussion. So we'll move forward with that.
Okay.
And it doesn't mean that you can't make a decision earlier either,
Beg your pardon?
I said it doesn't mean that you have to wait till 5 a.m. and make the decision, like, if we have a blizzard and it's going to be all
That is,
day.
yeah, that's
You
a
could
good point.
decide the night before or whatever, too,
Yeah.
so.
I'm going to have to sleep with my phone now.
I thought you already did that, sir.
Yeah, sometimes.
All right. Well, the chair, any other public comment or any public comment at all? All right. The chair would entertain a motion to accept policy number 5, closures of municipal buildings.
So moved?
Second?
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right. The next thing we're going to be talking about is policy number 3, use of municipal facilities. And I think the background, Mary, you can kind of fill in the gaps on this, but the background on this is that we have this beautiful new facility, and it's one of those things where our residents might want to take advantage of it, take advantage of the use of it in some circumstances, and we need to have an operating strategy for that, or a standard operating procedure for what that is. So what we are looking to do is form a new policy 3 to allow for that, and just get all those things, who's going to be here, for example, if it's on the Saturday, who will be here to open the doors, things like that. Anything to add?
I would ask Dick to add, I know that you asked the town employees to, or you sent out a message to create a group so they could look at that policy.
That's right. And I haven't heard of an update yet. You have anything to offer, Bennett? Anybody talk to you?
No, I think we're waiting to connect with Chip.
Okay. They're going to connect with Chip.
Because I think we wanted to include both buildings, because sometimes it might be more appropriate to have something in the community building than here. Or so we wanted to just include the opportunity for people to be able to use buildings more.
Well, I think when that group gets together, they'll
Yep,
provide an offer of what they think is the appropriate process, and we'll go with it.
yep.
Okay.
Take a look at it.
Do we want to kind of set a a time frame for recommendations? Do we want to set a I don't know, not a deadline, but an ask for a time, or we just want to just let it go?
I'll give them a nudge.
Give them a nudge. All right.
Nudge.
So we'll give them a nudge. All right, F, non-municipal budgets. What are we talking about here?
So I had passed out the non-municipal requests last meeting, and I didn't know if we wanted to wait until we look at all the budgets, or if we wanted to review them, or if anybody had any questions on them. The total amount requested was $24,962. So what's your pleasure, Mr. Chair?
Does anyone else on this board want to discuss non-municipal budgets or have any comment on that? It's not much different from last year, is it?
It's almost in line. I don't know
Yeah,
if I forget
it's
to bring
almost
mine
in line.
but
The biggest increase was with Sweetser, and as you know, they provide mental health services, and they're trying to build a facility for pediatrics in the area, and they do give a lot of care to a lot of the kids and stuff, so I think it's, they had 46 residents from Hollis last year, and they received $61,670 worth of services, so I don't have a problem with that ask. The first year he asked was, last year he asked for $1,500, but I think it's very important that we get some services for our young children and young adult, younger children, so that we don't have as much suicide as we've been seeing in the country, so.
Okay.
And that's really the only big one.
All right, so we're just discussing it. There's nothing to...
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Any other discussion about non-municipal budgets? Okay, moving right along. Open house. So we've been in these new quarters, or in this new building since September-ish, October. And I think we're looking to schedule an open house for the general public, for the residents of Hollis to come and check it out, and probably have some fanfare, I would assume, grand opening, if you will, even though we've been here for a little bit. And we're looking to schedule that. And did we have a particular month in mind or time?
Well, I think we're looking at the beginning of April, because we did reach out to Susan Collins and Pam Buck to see if they'd be able to attend. I know that Bennett sent them a message, and I don't know if you've heard back from them yet.
I did hear back, excuse me. She was going to send the information to her schedulers, and asked if we can provide an invitation from Hollis if we move forward. And I gave the dates of the 1st or the 8th of April.
And then when the other person that we wanted to invite was the Great Falls people who have reached out to us probably every 2-3 weeks
2 or 3 days.
to see if we wanted to, you know, because they would like to attend too.
Did you say the 8th of April? That's a Wednesday.
What day would you like it?
Well, people are probably working on Wednesdays. I don't know. It's one of those things where I'm thinking Senator Collins or general residents who want to come take a look at our.
That's very true. I don't know if the senator is necessarily available on the weekends to come,
Yeah.
to come do business. That's the only concern I have.
So I think we could wait until we get a response, and if she can't, then we could consider a weekend.
Okay.
you know.
I could see maybe a dedicated, like having her here and having maybe a little ceremony or something, but to have the actual open house and have our invite residents to come and, you know, hopefully we can provide some, you know, refreshments and things like that, right?
Yeah.
Maybe a band, who knows what that would look like, but regardless, I think a Wednesday would be not the day, but we can certainly table that and come back to it after Senator Collins gets back to us. Does that work for everybody here?
Yes.
Okay. All right, so we'll table that discussion. Any public comment on that?
So if we
We gotta
did
make
have,
sure Rita Anderson's in town.
Rita Anderson needs to be here.
and so if we did schedule it for a weekend, what day would people prefer and what time frame for public comment? Does anybody have any opinions?
I was thinking probably we would shoot for something like, you know, a little better chance of good weather in May. Maybe not, of course, not Memorial Day or anything like that, but we could look at like maybe the first week of May, maybe the first weekend of May, which would be the 2nd, or the second weekend, which would be the 9th,
Okay,
something along those lines.
and what time frame? We'll do a survey.
Yeah, we could do a survey on the site. I don't know.
We do Mother's Day weekend, everyone brings their mom to check out the town hall.
That's a good idea. That's the third week.
What-
That's the second weekend. Yeah, we could do. Should it be on a Sunday or a Saturday?
Probably Saturday.
Think so. I think Saturday would be good too.
Okay,
So maybe Mother's Day weekend. I like that idea, Dan. Mother's Day weekend. That would be May 9th. You want to just kind of do a tentative May 9th?
and then if Senator Collins can come, we'll do a dedication, whatever day she's available.
Yeah. Does that work for you?
Yep.
All right. Let's go with that. So we'll just tentative. We'll figure out. We'll cement that in stone. But for now, let's just look at May 9th. Great. Bar Mills decommissioning update. Oh,
Oh,
hi, Christy.
Hello. I just wanted to make a comment about the proposal for Mother's Day. And I would just want to say if that's going to be considered, I think we need to watch at this time because I mean,
Not-
people might be right.
Not Mother's Day. Not Mother's Day, Mother's Day weekend. So Mother's Day is Sunday. We were proposing Saturday.
Okay, Saturday. Okay, well, the same thing still applies. I think that as far as time, like maybe like early afternoon, like so like after lunchtime maybe, but like not too close to like lunch or like potential dinner time.
Yeah. I like that idea. No, it's good. It's good feedback, Christy. Yeah, I think I was thinking afternoon too. I wasn't thinking of an early morning thing either. It's a great idea. Thanks, Christy. All right. Thank you. Bar Mills decommissioning update. Anything to talk about there?
I can give a quick one. We're having a meeting with Brookfield representatives next Tuesday, I believe, Monday here. And I think that we're going to be getting their draft decommissioning plan on their plan, what they're going to do there. Not that it's really a big secret. They've been kind of out in the open the whole time what's happening. This is just kind of one of the steps in the process. Does that sound good, Terry? Terry's on it with me, so he knows.
Good? Okay.
And we should have some more updates next meeting. And I think discussions on it, too.
Okay. Thank you very much. So we have the Route 4A Rehabilitation Main DOT update.
Well, I just wanted people to know that we do have the maps of what they're going to do to 4A. So if you live on 4A and want to see the maps, there's probably 18 pages, but we do have a copy of the maps. And my understanding, we were being asked why the residents affected hadn't heard from them. My understanding is that they have reached out to them and told them what land they're going to be taking or what they're going to be offering them or for compensation. So that's moving along. Anything to add, Dick?
I kind of briefly looked over the plan for the intersection, and what it looks like the Y at Country Club Road isn't going to be there anymore. It's going to be kind of squared off.
Yep.
And making the kind of turn more gradual, not how it kind of goes up right at the end, I think, is what I kind of got out of it. They're going to kind of cut it back a little.
Yeah.
I wasn't very good when I looked at them because I don't know anything about plans sometimes.
Right.
But thanks, Dan.
I met some time ago with them, and we reviewed the preliminary plans, but I know they've come up with much more detail.
All right, on to new business. First order of new business is Adam Roy from the Hollis Freewheelers. Request for warrant article for the ATV Club to get a portion of the registration fees and discuss building a parking lot behind the salt shed that connects to large pole line trails. Coming up.
Thanks, Mike.
Okay, thank you.
My name's Adam Roy. I'm a member of the Hollis ATV Club, I'm a trail master, and I'd like to go over 3 things today for you guys that we've been brainstorming for the last year or two, trying to figure things out. So we'll come here and talk to you guys about. The first thing is we want to do a request for a warrant article that kind of mirrors the Snowmobile Club's registration article. I don't really know what's involved with that. I don't know if I can get some more information from you guys, like how much does that money bring in? Is it a percentage of the registration fees? How does it work?
I can try to answer that. Being on the Snowmobile Club treasurer, guilty as charged, we get a check from this town of what the town would have kept in the fees. Like a lot of it goes to the state, most of it, but it was like the $2 or whatever that the town gets to keep. They kind of added that up at the end of the year and wrote us a check to go back into what we do.
Okay. Yeah, anything.
I know Diane kind of keeps track of all that. She would have all the numbers on how much percentage it is.
Okay.
I don't know the ins and outs of it. I just kind of get I know it's like $1,100 or so is what it was this year.
Oh, that sounds great. Yeah, anything helps. Go to the next slide.
There's a little side switch you might have to turn.
Yeah, I gotcha.
And I would assume, Adam, that you're eligible for it, so we'll just have to find out how we
What's
do
that?
that. I would assume that you're eligible to get the registration fees too.
Yeah.
back, and we'll just have to figure out what the warrant article should mirror or whatever.
Okay. Yeah, I just want to kind of go why we're asking for it. So in FY24, we were awarded $73,000 in state grants. And that went to some projects like early spring storm damage, where we had a bunch of fallen trees and some washouts. We rebuilt the Curtis Road Bridge, and we repaired 1.2 miles of trails along the large pole line headed over towards Deer Wanderer. In 2005, we were awarded $47,000 in state grants. Those projects included cutting down overgrowth and repairing the Army base trail that heads towards Hardscrabble Road, or from Hardscrabble to Leamington, and then all the general maintenance for the rest of the trail network. So the combined awarded value was $120,000. And with those municipality grants, the state will give 90%, and the club has to pay the rest of the 10%. So that equals $12,000. And we can use things like volunteer hours, because we get certain rates for that. We have ATV hours, equipment hours, membership fees. We sell some hats and shirts. But at the end of the day, that's a big number, and we're putting all that money towards the community. So we're kind of thinking this might be a way for the community to help us back out to continue to do these larger projects. Some of the projects that we're hoping to get for 26, 27 is we want to continue the Army Base Trail from where we left off all the way to Leamington. We were thinking about doing the large pole line from 117 to 35. Right now, it's pretty much only a winter trail because it's wet, and the Snowmobile Club uses it when it freezes over with the snow. So we're hoping to do some improvements. But this kind of hinders on the next project is maybe the possible chance of a parking lot shared with the town out back behind the salt shed. And then the California Fields Trail, we haven't been there in a while, and we're planning on doing some work there. We got some club news that I want to talk about. We're kind of expanding with the main single track club. I think you guys met Tom. He was here about a month or two talking about opening up trails. So we're joining up with the dirt bikers. We're trying to give them some, do some more education. We want to increase the membership and more volunteers. Plus, dirt bikers get a bad rap, so we're just trying to join with them. If we got a few bad eggs, maybe that gives them a voice in joining up a club. Try to help out. Any questions on that part? So, yeah, so Mary, we can just maybe talk about the warrant article later and what it involves.
Yep.
The next slide is the recreational parking lot. So I'm not calling it an ATV parking lot. It's calling it recreational because I want to be able to use it for not just four-wheelers, but snowmobilers. People want to go canoeing, kayaking, go for a walk. So I took a screenshot. I drew a basic parking lot. In this, over there, I took a walk back, and it's like a knoll over there. I don't know if it's fill or what it is. I don't think it's ledge, but it seemed like it'd be a nice spot to level off, and maybe we can control it with some gates or something, or I don't know. It's 1,000 feet from the river, so I know.
Are you talking right back at the shed?
Yeah, Jack. I don't know if you can see it on this screen or not, but it'd be right
Come
behind.
off to the back where that dirt, that's all been filled in. That's fill. That's
Yeah.
not ledge.
Yeah, so that might be a nice spot to put it. It would be the gentleman talked about Brookline doing a project. I don't know where that project is, but maybe this could serve as an overflow of, like he mentioned, a small picnic table and a little parking lot. We don't want to mess up what they have, and then have a connector trail from the parking lot to the big pole line.
How many trailers and trucks do you think could fit there?
Well, we're not really designing it right now. We just want to talk about the opportunity to work with the town to design something.
Well, what do you think, if you're going to estimate use of it?
Yeah.
What's the closest alternative to this?
So we don't have a parking lot right now.
Yeah.
And I was just talking with the secretary of the club, and we do get a few, on average, maybe the beginning of the year is a little bit busy, and then it slows down. So maybe 4 or 5 a week, people asking us for a parking spot. I don't think we'd get a crowd. Most of the people like to go to Abbott's because they have a gas station. I really see this being as more of a local parking area for the locals around town that don't live on a trail and need access.
I'll tell you where I'm a little concerned about it is because of the planned use of that space, potential planned use for that space in the future for when we lose our dock. Right, in what Brookfield has basically kind of posed in that area, and what that would mean for the use, and what that would, because what we were going to do there, that particular spot, I don't know if we don't have a site plan for that, but it does bring a little concern for the conflicting use. I'm not sure. Is anyone else, Dan? You're more close to the dam.
I thought the dam thing was a lot further away, like just down, like it would be.
Yeah, we're 1,000 feet from the river.
It's too bad. Do you have like a zoomed out of that at all? I think there's a pretty good amount of separation.
There's a lot of space there, yeah.
I picked this spot because after hearing the comments a couple of weeks ago, I was just trying to get away from the river It looks pretty dry up there. It's already been kind of wooded out, and it's kind of a short trail to get to the major pole lines. If we go a little bit further down, then where the pole lines would be, that area looks a little bit wet and deep in there, so. But yeah, we're willing to move it anywhere. We don't have to have that spot. We're just looking for a parking lot.
And are you looking for funding from the town to create this parking lot?
No, so I talked with the state, and they're willing to fund it if we can access a trail system to it. So this is almost like a twofer, you know, if we can get the parking lot, then we can work on the big pole line. But if we don't get the parking lot, then we can't work on the pole line. But yeah, I mean, I don't know what the state we would put in for funding. We've done really well with funding before. I don't think it's going to cost, if we put it in that location, I don't see it costing a lot of money. We'd outsource it to a lot of local help if we could, if there was availability, but.
When you guys do your trail work, how do you pick your contractors?
We put it out.
Would you guys put out a bid for this, or?
Yeah, so for some of the state for municipality grants, they want 3 bids. So we put out 3 bids, and usually they take the lowest bidder. Unless there's some circumstance where we can single source it, then we can single source it.
I know this just from my professionalism, I've done some survey work out there in that area, and the town's property doesn't touch the CMP property. There's a strip of land that's owned by the landowner on the other side of that. I don't know if you've approached them at all.
I thought the town abuts up to the CMP, but if it doesn't, then we can approach them.
Yeah, it's like a
Little
this much.
strip, yeah.
No, like I said, this is just in our head. We're thinking of a parking spot. We haven't done a lot of research. We're not saying after tonight, we're agreeing on this location. We're just looking to work with you guys.
Yeah, I'd be more apt to support something just to say we have a parking lot, because this, what you just kind of sketched out there, like I'm just comparing it to the parking lot we have here, and it's almost the same size. So potentially, I'm seeing at least a dozen trucks and trailers. I don't know if that's what, I'm just like, sometimes I go down where people park on the Army Base Road, and that's almost all the way parked up. If there's going to be, a line of trucks and trailers trying to get in there on the weekends, is a big difference than, there's a couple spots for guys on the club to kind of go park at.
Yeah, and when I was looking at this, I was thinking, I don't want these guys backing up, but what if we had enough room where they could pull in, come down where it says 200 feet, and we had some markings or some paint, some bollards or whatever, cones, and they could park straight, and then they're just pulling out. They're not worrying about backing up. And then we can have a back line, maybe a trail system from where the other cars park, and they can walk down towards the river. The canoes, fishing poles, whatever.
And is the state guy okay with it being a it's a trail bond thing? Are they okay with other people parking? It doesn't have to be ATV only for you to be eligible for their grant?
Yeah, we would still be eligible for the grant. They might say, well, if it's a shared parking space, they might just do a percentage. I don't know. I have never applied for a grant like this before for a parking lot. They will support it. I just don't know how much it will cost. I mean, if it's cheap to do it, I'm sure they might support it all. If it's expensive, then we'll have to break it up. I mean, if it's going to be shared space, if it gets plowed in the wintertime, do you guys have parking spots for snowmobiles in town?
No, just the same as you.
Yeah, so if we shared something like this, maybe I could help you guys. We could both put in municipality grants. And then maybe the 2 clubs could probably pay for this whole thing.
Yeah, I'm just, like I said, again, the size of that just seems a lot. And, getting into, I'm not an engineer, but stuff like that, parking lots that big need some sort of engineering plans too, and that's where the money's getting spent, not the gravel and the bulldozers. Just kind of let you know what it might be down to for
Yeah, I can check with the state and see what the state has for engineering support too. See if they'd be willing to help out.
I keep on coming back to that water access thing, you know, if the plan for Brookfield to kind of create this water access, this boat access to the river happens, and people start using this parking lot, I'm wondering what that's gonna look like, you know, we can't, was that Tom?
Actually, that sounds great. It sounds like residents are able to use something that they weren't able to use before.
Right.
It means you get different people kind of meeting up to each other instead of everybody separated.
Sure, yeah.
We can have some
that sounds
car-
great. I love the meeting. I love the community space. I'm just wondering, like, what is that going to look like with, are you thinking set spaces in this?
Yeah, I was thinking we have the trucks and trailers, the trucks, the cars, have different spaces for everybody, so.
And the trailers for you guys usually like the short trailers type of thing, and then a truck?
I don't know. So I've seen some guys come in with, you know, longer trailers with trucks. You know, we would post something on Facebook. We wouldn't just have it open to the public. We would have our secretary write something on her website or Facebook, you know, the size limits for trailers. There's only so many parking spots, so be aware. If it's full, then revert back to Abbott's or go to Hardscrabble.
Okay. And so to check to see if it was full, they'll have to pull their truck and their trailer down and kind of do a loop, it looks like.
Yeah, that's what you know, I'm not a parking lot engineer, but that's kind of what my thought was when I was sketching this out. And it would have to, I tried to stay away from the salt shed. I don't think it will be encroaching that much at all. If there's some traffic through there, obviously we would post no parking outside, so people wouldn't, if it was full, they wouldn't be using that for a parking spot. But, I mean, I wrote 200 feet. We could probably push that back a little bit further. I was just looking at the most, because the tree's already down, that's already there. Quick, efficient way to put it in a parking lot, and then it can expand later on.
Okay. Any other comments about this particular? Is there any, like, next steps we could, obviously, we're not going to do anything about this right now necessarily, but is there a next step for, like, a site survey or some feasibility we could give them, some guidance on what to do next? Maybe if you have.
Well, you got somewhat of a swale there. Right when you come in, there's a swale where it drops off where drainage down and back there.
Yeah.
So how are you gonna get around that or over that or extend that,
Which side are you pointing to, Jack?
you know?
Yeah, I mean, we'll have to have some people look at it. The ATV world, we do environmental stuff all the time where we're crossing over a bridge and we need somebody to look at it. So what I'm just saying is, hey, would you entertain something? And then as with the club, we can reach back to some people in the state, see who we have for resources. You guys see who you have for resources, and we can combine forces and get this thing done. And I think it'll be great for the community, for a nice fishing spot and parking.
So does anybody have any thoughts? Terry?
Terry Walters. Again, I'm not opposed to ATVs. It's just the appropriateness of using this site for ATVs. In 2020, when we were going to start building this town hall, the town hired Woodward and Curran, a very well-known architectural engineering firm, and they came up with plans for this piece of property. And there's
Came up with 3 different phases.
Excuse me?
There's 3 different ones.
Yeah, there are 3 different plans in here for the back property. And they all show, 2 of them show kayak accesses, recreation trails, natural classrooms, something that could be used by the rec department as well. We wanted to build that as part of, those that are on the building committee wanted to proceed with that. We just didn't have the money, and we couldn't get grants at the time, so it's kind of sat on the back burner. But we felt that was the highest and best use of that property. Fast forward, Brookfield came and said they're going to take down the Bar Mills Dam. One of the concerns of doing that was it was going to lower the river level at the boat launch, and we would lose 5 miles of access to the river. There's no way you'd be able to access the river. Those of us on the committee addressed this with Brookfield, and through a lot of negotiations, they made a proposal to the town that if they could use this property, they would consider building us an access road, a boat launch, a picnic area, and a parking lot for public access to the river. Now, that's part of the negotiation with a much bigger, and there's many other items. I think it's going to happen. Brookfield could still pull back and say, you know, we didn't agree to other things, they're not going to agree to this, but they made the proposal. You folks voted 5-0 to accept that proposal, to partner with Brookfield. So at this point, Brookfield feels that they have to go ahead to design a recreational area for the town of Hollis. If we're going to put this on a referendum or a warrant, and it gets voted on to do something different, that's fine. That's up to the people of the town. That's up to the selectmen. But just remember, the committee worked long and hard, probably a year and a half on this proposal. And I think it's only fair to the committee that if you decide to do something different, that you rescind your vote on that. Because I, for one, don't want to go to Brookfield and negotiate not knowing we have the authority to go through with this. So, again, I'm perfectly willing to accept whatever you folks decide. But I think you have two competing proposals here.
So
now,
Terry,
the map they came in here is much better than what I anticipated, because if everyone thought they were going to use the same access road that Brookfield was building, it definitely wouldn't work. There might be something that could be done here collaboratively, but I think that they're two totally separate proposals, and I'd be very cautious about putting something on a warrant, because once it's voted in, it's in. And that might negate what Brookfield's going to do. So, thank you.
So I'm going to ask you though, Terry, because I know
Yep.
you've been on this, and this stems back from a lot of different plans that they
Yep.
had with Kern, and even up to the front and everything, this
Yep.
whole area. I'm going to ask you, is Brookfield is looking to put in a road all the way down to where the Boy Scout area is down
Yes.
there, the same area? So
you-
would that be a parking area down here?
Yep, you know the existing roadway that's there?
Yes.
They want to improve that
Yeah.
and put in limited parking towards where that Boy Scout area is.
Down there?
Yep.
So looking at this, so it doesn't conflict with that, if they have their parking lot up higher,
Yeah, if theirs was up here, it might be compatible with.
you know, keep it higher,
Yep.
and then they have a different access point,
Yep,
then, so it's.
it might be compatible, exactly.
Okay, thank you.
I just would hate to see us lose the deal with Brookfield over
Oh,
this.
no, I understand that. I agree with you, but if we can kind of like.
And Brookfield may walk away from it too. I mean, we're having some pretty contentious negotiations right now.
Yeah, you don't know.
But they made the proposal, and we've been very open with open meetings. I've addressed this committee about it. Dan's addressed the committee, Jim Booton's, so it's nothing like we haven't been out front with what we're trying to do.
Oh, I know.
Okay, thank you.
thanks, Terry.
Yeah, I just want to say, I kind of agree with Jack on that there is a good amount of separation between the two. You know, just, I pulled up the aerial, and you can zoom way out, and, you know, what they're talking about is in, you know, if you ever go walk out behind that salt shed, it's all just, you can tell it's been excavated at some point back in that area, and there's no, it's not like it's a place where you're going to want to go look at nature. It's like bamboo and sumac stuff out there, right? And, you know, there's a good, in between that and where the Boy Scout area is, there's a big swath of wetlands, you know, that kind of separates the two kind of areas of the town. lot back there. And I'm assuming where the kayak launch would be is, 800 feet back at least from where this,
Adam, you want to come back up?
Yeah, I didn't know if anybody else wanted to.
Any other public comment? Sure.
All right, Mike Cassidy. As far as funding goes, everything that the ATV club does is multi-use. It means walkers, bikers, horse riders, everybody. The only time they ever ask for any other type of money is if it's a double-use trail set up with the snowmobile club, and even then they don't really push it. So the funds that come from the state, we're allowed to use for anything that can be multi-use. This would be a multi-use purpose. Adam's already talked with the state about it. They feel it's multi-use. They don't feel that's going to be a problem to get the funds because, as he said, it also opens up our possibility to get the 117 to 35 117 section of the pole line. The money we've been trying to get for that, to improve that will benefit us, also Snowmobile Club, because it just makes it easier grooming, less puddles for them to deal with, less holes. But also makes it better for people hiking. As far as just saying, like, people wanting to recreate, we get a lot of people that do go out on the trails recreating, just going for walks with their dogs, especially in the winter. People go out snowshoeing and skiing and stuff with their dogs and just by themselves. So it's kind of, the whole plan is to just be multi-use everything we try and do with the trails. And this would be another extension of this. Back in the late 80s, early 90s, we used to come down and park in the parking lot here and ride over there to the trail when the pole line was in better shape, and you could with ATVs. Everybody still unloaded back here, and they drove through the woods, got to the pole line, they went up. As far as the landowner in between, we would definitely be approaching them. Nothing is set in stone of this plan. As Adam was saying, we're just trying to open the talk about it, with the town and just see if it's something's going to work. Definitely, if it's going to affect something with Brookfield, something you guys have going, then, we're not going to step on that. Yeah. We're just trying to open the discussion. Whatever Brookfields do, they can be their thing, and we can just work in the shadows, and whatever's left, we'd be glad to still work with you guys on that. Obviously, if it's going to affect a bigger plan, we don't want to do that. But everywhere we use, people park, and they use it to go hiking and everything else, everywhere they park. This is just to take some of the, take a little bit of the use off of Hardscrabble Road and just make it a little simpler when people ask a parking place. People are coming with families. They want a place where they can park easily, that's open. There's not a lot of traffic, and there's a lot of traffic on Hardscrabble Road and that type of thing. So we're trying to have a quieter place for people to park, and they would basically get on pole line and head out. We also have the Saco Road access that we've been working on with a couple landowners. We're still working on that. So that will connect us to the pole line, but it'll just kind of be a good open spot for everybody to park. And in the winter, it'll help for snowmobiles to have a place to actually park and jump right to the pole line as well, too, without having to block up roads or local businesses and stuff where they have to now to park. But that's pretty much it.
Okay.
That part of it.
Thank you.
Looking at this too, I keep on coming back to simplicity of access, like traffic flow kind of thing. When people are coming in there with a trailer or even a car, I feel like, if they went down to the left side of the town hall and they came down into let's just say this parking lot is as drawn, almost feels like it should be like a one-way type of in and then one way out. And I'm wondering if there is an opportunity Jack, you would know better than I what's basically down, going back to the parking lot behind the community building.
Well, I think it could be done, and I agree with you on the one-way. So that
especially with trailers
coming in, you come in and you go out, you line up.
And that's
that would work a lot better.
Yeah, I tried to make it the one way, so you come in by the salt shed, come down, loop around, you park, and then you head out around with it. Looks like there's an old trail there, right, by where they store the salt sand.
Did you already mention what you were thinking in the surface of this?
Yeah, so what I did, I took a screenshot from Google, put it in SketchUp, and those dimensions are pretty accurate right there, laying those out.
I don't like the material.
Were you thinking, sorry, the material?
Yeah, were you thinking paved or were you thinking gravel?
Just gravel. Yeah, a lot of, I think it's, we use Dearborn. They typically donate all their tailings to us. We use those on the trails, and then we could compact that and eventually put some
Gravel or reclaim?
nice gravel reclaim on top of it. Yeah.
And what would where would the maintenance come? You would be something there would be maintenance from the club or maintenance from both clubs?
That's a great question. I don't know. It was something we work with the town. And yes, we would have maintenance funds we do every year that could handle that. But if it's a shared use, then I think maybe we could share the cost. I don't think the costs are going to be that great.
Feels like if
It's
it was
just
shared
taking a
use, the
greater-
way we were thinking of shared use, it feels like maybe gravel isn't the correct way. Maybe it should be. I don't know what, obviously it's a huge cost difference, everything, but what does it look like for long-term maintenance of that space? If there was a parking lot back there, should it actually be paved so we have in essence less maintenance? We don't have to fill.
Reclaim holds up pretty well. It
Yeah.
gets hot. It gets pretty stiff.
Okay. Anything more on this, the parking lot?
Terry, do you have a time frame on when they might do the plan, or is it still so up in the air?
Brookfield came down this winter with their engineers and did a preliminary walkthrough. And that's when they came up with the proposal that we ran through you folks for approval. I think, Dan, you'll agree with me that they're assessing things at this point. They're looking at costs for all the different projects. And they don't share the costs with us. But right now, it's quite contentious over the power plant, and I think that's holding the whole process up. So I don't have, they told me that they wanted to get going on it this spring as far as doing the engineering.
Okay.
But again, I can't guarantee they're still going to be on board if we don't agree to other things. Okay, thank you.
Thanks.
Tom Wachowski, just from the financial side, it seems increasingly rare that we have groups or clubs or committees that come to the town asking for something that isn't the town giving them money. From what they say, there's no cost to the town. They're covering it with grants and then funding out of pocket. They've shown $100,000 in improvements to local trails in the town of Hollis without asking the town for any money. Granted, some of that obviously does come from registrations, but it's not directly out of the town's coffers. And I think, again, it's something you don't see much anymore. Any board, club, committee, group, the last one we had was pickleball, was put this on the ballot so the residents can pay for half of it. It doesn't seem like they're trying to do that. It seems like they're very covering their half and then getting grants to cover the rest of it, which is a noble thing. Mary's very versed in writing grants, and it's an uphill battle the whole way.
And I'm very versed in signing their grants.
Yeah.
With what? Yep.
And it's like I said, it's not a very simple, easy thing to write grants to get stuff approved. So if they think they can cover it with grants, all the power to them, especially when, everybody's trying to keep taxes low and they're not asking for a bunch of money from the town to do that. So, thank you.
So Adam, is Tom right here? I mean, is it you foresee no funds coming out of the town from the taxpayer?
That's what I would hope. Let me work with the Snowmobile Club, and we can do a kind of like a group municipality grant. I think next step, what I'd like to do is if you guys are open for designs, I can reach out to the state. Maybe I can find a designer, environmental engineer, see if I can gather a group of people. If I can't, then I don't see us going through it because, like Dan was saying, it's going to cost a lot of money for just the engineering.
Right.
If that's what you guys need, would you guys need, if we say, hey, this is the parking lot, we'll talk to the road commissioner, we can draw a sketch, we can put measurements of parking spots on there. You can Google on how to design a parking lot, but are you guys, because it's town property, would you require an engineer stamp on this parking lot?
Absolutely. Yeah, I believe so.
Is there something that's written that says you guys need a stamped set of plans to put in a parking lot that's gravel for recreational use?
There's no real deadline on this. I'm looking towards Brookfield side of this thing, because you're saying they're looking target spring, this spring, right? So, yeah, hopefully, but if we don't in that time, in the meantime, I don't think it would cause any conflict the way they're set up. I think they're just way out of the way, and you're right, you have that area that's real wet down here, and the Boy Scout area is on the opposite side, way over. So I don't think that'd be a factor, but,
If you guys can eliminate the engineering and studies, we could probably easily do this on a grant and probably have
It's
it.
not us, it's the agencies that, once you hit a certain amount of impervious area, it has to go through,
right, yeah,
gravel is impervious.
Yeah,
yeah,
Yes, sir.
yep,
yeah,
Yes,
Yeah.
sir.
yes, it is.
no.
Could somebody from the town give me what the requirements are to design a parking lot? And then I can reach out to see if I can find people that I might need to do the engineering, do the design.
Why don't you talk to Rob Hanson?
I'll talk to Rob, get the conversation started.
But my understanding from Dan is that it might be for the funding that the state requires you to have certain things. Right, Dan?
I don't know, you'd think that they would.
Yeah.
I mean, it's,
So
there's a big difference between an ATV trail and a gravel parking lot. You know,
Right.
it's like, ATV trail, I'm sure is impervious unless you're compacting down gravel on top of it. And this is definitely adding to it, and, you know, however many feet you are from the wetlands that are definitely there, out back, definitely, but, you know, depending on that, how much, you know, they might make you put in one of those little storm pond things, you know?
Yeah, detention pond?
Yeah, like, that's what subdivision roads have to build, and I'm sure we had an engineer kind of design the runoff of this parking lot to kind of sheet off, so it's kind of even, you know, and I think we had some drains already that it feeds into, but I know when the town hall was designed, there's a whole engineering plan set that shows, you know, all the contour lines and all the wetlands and what mechanisms they use to filter the stormwater runoff. More of Mary's brothers.
I'm just gonna say, you talk to Rob Hanson. He knows exactly what's out there, what's under the ground out there. Believe me, he's been out there for years. So he could answer a lot of your questions out there
Okay.
and help you with that.
And Adam, if you want to give me your contact information, I'll ask my brother if he'll come walk the site with you.
That's who?
My brother's an environmental engineer,
Okay.
and he would be happy to walk the site with you and identify what kind of problems there might be with it.
I think you got my email address.
I probably do. But I'll have
And he'd
him
know all those,
ins and outs about how close
The
the
requirements
wetlands
and
and
all
all
that.
that. But you'd have to walk the site
he's
with him.
pretty
and show
sharp.
him.
Trust me, he
He's
is.
done some work for us,
Yeah.
Yeah, send me his information.
yeah, so.
So basically, the takeaway is there's more information that needs to be had, and do you have anybody in your, you know, network that has done anything like this, built, whether it's on a town property or not, that has built like access to trail?
That's the next, I'm going to check with the state. The guys I contact for the municipality grants, I'll reach out to them and see if they've done something like this for a grant and see who they used.
Okay,
So
cool.
I can do that.
So
I
I
was
think we
just
can leave
kind
as
of just,
more information needed at this point, right?
yeah. So we'll just leave it open and more talks.
I think you.
So there is an
didn't-
opportunity.
You, Rob, and Mary's brother get together on that one.
Yeah,
Okay.
Yep.
he's supposed to be down Sunday, but
All right, next one is Plains Road ATV road access. So why do we want it? Where are we going to put it? What are the safety and state requirements? Well, I'm going to compare an active ATV road access route, and hopefully we can come to a good conclusion. So why do we need access? So around FY 21, 22, we used to have a connector that went from the small pole line over through some landowners' property, across Plains Road to the California Field Trail. Well, my understanding is the landowner said, no, we don't want you anymore. crossing our lands. So then ATVs and other vehicles started going by Johnson's Garage, coming up High Street, and then connecting the California Field Trail. So that led into a lot of complaints. It wasn't really safe, so we shut the end of that trail down. So now there is no connector. Plains Road is a between access point for an S-turn trail, the small pole line, and the California Field Trail. Right now, the existing trail system does not form a continuous loop. Riders must turn around instead of circulating, and that limits safe and controlled trail flow. And to be honest, when somebody comes to the end of a trail and they see a road, unfortunately, they're gonna use it. So we're trying to make a safe connecting loop. So why don't we just build another trail? Well, listening 2 weeks ago and hearing some of the questions that you guys had for us, we've tried. We've gone out, we've talked to pretty much everybody on Plains Road that was a legitimate access route, like somebody that had, some road, some trees, space between properties. We went to everybody. We found somebody on 523 Plains Road, and that would connect over to 532 Plains Road, where there's the guy that lives there. He does the top branch tree service. But we were kind of stuck on 523 because in order to get to there, we had to go across common land off of Durgan Road. And the people who own that common land said, nope, we don't want you here. So we did. We've tried every alternative way. Like Chris was saying last meeting, we don't want to ride on the road. We'd rather be in the woods, in the trail. So this is kind of like our last effort. Where is it going to be? So the trailhead comes out by the Hollis Fire Station, and the other trailhead comes out around 555 Plains Road, and it's about 4,000 feet. So now we're going to go to safety and state requirements. So Plain Road is flat and it's straight. The site distance requirements per the state are for 35 miles an hour, you need to see at least 305 feet. For 45 miles an hour, you need to see at least 425 feet. If I'm standing at the trailhead near the fire station, and if I look towards the west, I can see 3,000 feet. If I come out by the California trailhead, I look towards High Street, I can see over 2,000 feet. The speed limit on Plains Road is 35 miles an hour from High Street to Shy Beaver Road. And then from Shy Beaver Road, it increases to 45 miles an hour towards the fire station. So we looked at that as a club, and we're like, well, all right, we meet all the requirements. What do we do next? So I reached out to the state. I said, how do we get this? Because we weren't trying to sneak this underneath the rug. Like the last two roads, we had to vote on it, which was fine. We ended up working out in our favor. But this one, since it's a state-owned highway, the path to get it accepted is we have to fill out an application to the state. The state takes that application and sends it over to DOT for approval. So I contacted Brett LeBlanc, who's the State of Maine Recreational Trails Coordinator, and he's been involved with over hundreds of miles of road access proposals. He came, we looked at it, we looked at maps, we looked at other opportunities, other alternate ways to get around it, but we both looked at it and he says, yep, this is pretty cut and dry, straight road. He didn't see any problem with the DOT accepting this as a form of ATV road access. So then I called Dick and I said, hey Dick, the state called. It's typically all they want is an application, but they said, hey, we want the town's blessing this year. So I went to Dick, I said, do you mind? And he said, you know, Adam, sounds good to me, and let me know if I take this out of context. He says, let me call a couple guys and I'll get back to you. So he called Chris Young, the fire chief, and Chris Young is like, he accepted it. And coming from Chris, who probably has more safety training on road and everything else than anybody else in this room, I was like, okay, that's great, Chris approves it. Then he called Rob. He's road commissioner for I don't know how long, probably been here for his whole life, and I'm assuming he approved it. He was like, yeah, everything looks good. So Dick called me, he's like, hey, Adam, come to the meeting, we'll get the town select board to vote on it, we'll see how it goes. So unfortunately, I couldn't be here last week, so thank you for tabling it for this week. And this is why we're here out front of you, trying to go forward with this. The other reason we want to have this as road access is wrecked vehicles are already using it. Chris says he sees them pass by the station all the time. We can't police it, but with this, at least we can try to control it. And it's proven to work because the same thing on Dare Wanderer. They were using it, we put the signs up, now everybody's doing 15 miles an hour, and it's working out great. Another thing I heard last time was, well, you can't compare Dare Wanderer to Plains Road. Well, you can't, because I honestly think Plains Road is a much safer alternative than what Dare Wanderer is. So if you look at Dare Wanderer, it's a hilly road, it's got its dips and downs, there's 4 bends, so you're looking at a lot shorter sight distances. There's 3 intersecting roads. It's 1.18 miles, 6,200 feet versus the 4,000 feet. The speed limit's 35 miles an hour, but there's a lot less sight distance on that road. We've had 0 complaints. And again, it's proven to slow ATVs down. I spoke to some residents on Dare Wanderer. I met with Chris Miner, 984 Dare Wanderer. He lives 67 feet from the edge of pavement. I spoke to Mary and Dell Smith, 982 Dare Wanderer. He's 70 feet from the pavement. Jeremiah Wakefield, 998 Dare Wanderer, 63 from the pavement. Katie and Wayne Truck, 989 Dare Wanderer, and he is 49 feet from the edge of pavement. All 4 of those people, they love it. They said, it's slowing traffic down. People are respectful of the road now. They stay on the pavement. They don't get off the shoulder and destroy the road like they used to do. They're not trying to race from point A to point B because they have a legal access route they can use and they feel safe on. Now we're going to look at Plains Road one more time. It's flat. It exceeds the sight distance requirements by over 600%. It only has 2 intersecting roads, and it's only 4,000 feet long. So with all that being said, we've tried alternate routes, yes. Do we need it? Yes. Is it safe and meets state requirements? Yes. And let's look back at what the town did 2 years ago. We put it up for vote. One road was on Dare Wanderer, the other road was Soccer Road. 2 different points of the town, and they accepted both of them. And Mary, you mentioned signage at the last meeting. Mm-hmm. So I've never done this before. So the state's probably, if they do accept it, they're going to come up with their own signs. They install the signs. We pay for the bill. But I don't know what they're going to determine for a speed limit, but I would like to keep the stay on pavement, obviously, but in the time of days of night, you can use it. So it's early morning to in the afternoon. So there would be a time restriction.
Okay.
That I would request from the state. And that's all I have.
Any comment?
I just wanted to comment that this item was not on the agenda, and I think if it was, there might be some more people who might have lived there come in to comment on it. I didn't think that we were going to be talking about this one thing tonight, just because I read the agenda. But I can make some comments on it. I live on this access road that they're proposing the access to be on. And I would have talked to some of my neighbors about coming in tonight about it. I have concerns about, I know it's a long straight road, there's no questioning that, but because it's a long straight road, people rarely do the speed limit. If you're not doing 50 by the time you get to the 45 mile an hour zone, when you're in the 35, you got someone on your butt. You know, there was...
Can I address that for a moment? Mm-hmm. Hi, my name's Jeff Van Julen. I'm a Hollis resident. I've lived here for 4 years. I've been riding here for 30. In the town of Greenville, Maine, they installed an access route, and they had a problem with cars speeding. And the one byproduct of installing an access route is it slowed all the cars down. It's been a great improvement to Greenville's traffic by having the ATVs, because they follow the rules, they want to keep the access route. So that's just a byproduct that may be beneficial to consider. One other point, I've been riding since I was 5. I've got 50 years of off-road experience, and the mental health benefits from riding have greatly improved my life and probably saved my life. I wasn't behind the Jones barns smoking weed with the other kids. I was out riding, and it taught me a lot of great things: community, resilience, how to fix mechanical things. So having the opportunity for young people to be able to experience this, I think, is something that the community needs. And I also feel that we could work together with you to meet the Brookfield plan, and also maybe not here and maybe not in this place, but please be open to the idea of allowing a parking lot somewhere in town. Maybe you'll come up with a better location. But
Okay.
thank you.
Thank you. Dan, you were kind of mid-sentence there. What were you saying?
Can I just say something?
Nope, go for it.
I know last time we talked about the speed on Plains Road, and I got a chuckle when you put up that 35 mile an hour on Deer Wander. I live on Deer Wander. I don't think I've seen a car go by my place at 35, more like 50, 60 miles an hour.
Yep.
And the way that road winds and turns, and there's been zero problems or complaints. And that's why I'm saying, I'm thinking back now, looking at this line of sight, okay, meeting all the requirements, where you would have thought on Deer Wander, if you were going to have an issue, that's where you're going to have it. That's all I have to say on that one.
Dan?
Okay. So yeah, one, it wasn't on the agenda, so people who might have had something to say about it didn't come. I did see some emails come through from other people commenting about it. And one other thing is, you know, Adam, respectfully, you went and talked to people on Deer Wander Road about how it was, but, you know, I drove down here on my way home from work today and counted the number of houses, and there's 25 houses along there in that stretch. And have you talked to anyone getting their take on if they want this to be in their front yard? You know, a lot of houses on that stretch are that same within 100 feet of the road there.
I can speak a little to that, not specific to this exactly, but the last access we tried to get from the small pole line was 5 different landowners. We got permission, it was actually, sorry, 8 different landowners. We got permission from all of them except for, there was the last 3 that are the common landowners off of Durgan Road. And we had 2 of them for a long time, and those 2 were going to talk to the 3rd landowner. And that's the only one that fell through, was the 3rd one, because the first 2, they never actually talked to him. They kept telling us they were in favor, they wanted it. The last guy actually wanted it. He was just nervous about it, and he was nervous about us trying it, which is the whole reason we go to this. But I say that because we also talked to the landowners on Plains Road from the television station all the way up past Durgan, letting them know we were working on this, and every landowner I talked to was fine. They all said, oh, we don't care. There's more noise from the Harleys that go by, the loud trucks and cars that go by. You know, an ATV going by is not going to bother us at all, because there was going to be a short section of road we possibly had to do for one of the other options we were discussing for this access that was within distance that we don't have to get a road access, because we have a certain footage we're allowed to travel. So there's a couple of those routes, and I did talk to landowners, and they were all fine with it. Said, we don't, you know, you guys aren't half, even a quarter of the noise that we deal with all the time. With the roads going by, like you're saying, the speeds and everything else that already happen on that road. The big trucks, because you get the Poland Springs trucks that go by there that shouldn't be going up through there, but they still do. There's a bunch of noise on that. We're not that heavy traffic, and honestly, it'd be a long time before this traffic would even build up to anything because people have avoided it for so long because we've had that closure on this end of the Poland Spring Trail that people haven't been using the Poland Spring Trail. And we get multiple questions every year from people asking if we finally have a connection. We finally have a connection because there's a lot of families. Older people don't want to go for a ride, they want to bring their families, but people bring their families. A lot of the machines now are 4-person. People bring, it's the mother, father, and 2 kids usually. You know, they're almost always out there riding. It's always families. There's a small section on the small pole line where it goes right by a guy's garden. And we go down there, we talk to him every year, and he's great. We put some more wood chips down to help with the dust. Everything he says, he goes, I love it. He goes, I love seeing the families go by. It's one of the best parts about it. And we used to have an access trail that went through where there were some horses when we had a different access route, the one that we lost. The reason we lost that access was because they got horses. And they were horses that needed certain training because they're supposed to have special needs, and she got them to try and calm them down. They had a lot of nerve issues, so they didn't want the noise of the machines going by. And there was 1 or 2 bad apples that caused the noise issues that caused them to finally say, you know, we're just not sure. And we said, we're just going to close the trail. We didn't fight it because we don't fight with the landowners. We just work with what they need. I did go back and talk to that landowner a couple years ago and just kind of like went back and forth a little bit if she'd be open to it. But honestly, we really didn't want to do that access route because the last part of the access route is down the side of their driveway. And that was a major impedance the whole time we had it because we had constant maintenance going back, cleaning the driveway up and stuff like that. And that's why we're trying to get this route because it'll be on the road, on the pavement, with signage. There's hundreds and hundreds of miles on the Down East Trail system, down east. They've been there for 15 plus years. There's routes on it's a 90 plus mile railroad trail. There's routes all the way out to the coast that are all pavement. 0 issues with accidents. All the speed issues that people get worried about have never come to light.
Okay.
I mean, if there's an accident in the state of Maine, you see it on the news. You don't see that many accidents on the state, you know.
Well, you know, we talk about transparency all the time here, about letting people know, and I agree with Dan that if anything, we should at least let the people that are going to be affected know so they can come and comment.
That's, I suggest, if you will, if you'll listen to my suggestion, take a page out of the planning board's playbook. Anytime we come up with something as a board that we can't figure out or we need opinions on, if we don't think that the residents have enough of an understanding about something, or feel that residents need to be more notified about something before the planning board decides on which way to go, we call for a public hearing. You can schedule one for, you can't do next meeting because you won't have time to notify, but the meeting after, then you'll have plenty of time to notify all the landowners near there. Dan can go talk to them, and I think it's the best point. Your point is valid. There's a bunch of people here that support it. Maybe the people that don't support it didn't know it was happening. So that's my suggestion.
Thank you, Tom.
Because what happened with the Soccer Road and Deerwander being on the warrant is we got a lot of negative feedback that people didn't know it was going to be discussed, that they didn't know it was going to be on the warrant. And we had some very upset people that were affected by where we had the road marked.
So I don't think anyone thought we were going to have a vote on this tonight anyway. Hopefully, no one in this room thought we would be able to do that tonight. But I think the public hearing, Dan makes a very, very good point that people need to be heard. So we'll, you know, should we?
Can we put it on the agenda for the next meeting?
The next meeting we want to do that, or do we need a public hearing? Do we need to put some notice out there? What do we need to do there to make sure that landowners are notified? Should we shoot for 2 weeks like Tommy was kind of suggesting? Or not 2 weeks, sorry. Not this next meeting, but the meeting after. First meeting in April.
It's April Fool's Day.
Fool's Day?
April Fool's Day, okay. Okay.
So we probably need a motion.
For that, right? So the chair would entertain a motion to put Plains Road access for ATV Plains Road access for the April 1st meeting.
Second.
So moved.
And second by Jack. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Thank you. Thank you, everybody that came to talk about this. Thanks for all the comment. We're going to move on to the next item, which is Chris Young, our fire chief, has a proposal for the select board.
Thank you, everybody that came for the ATVs.
All right. So just here to present a proposal that was brought to me from our Autotronics emergency vehicle dealer. For the proposals, you guys have a copy of them at the end of you have copies of this presentation on your desks. And there's a copy of the proposal at the end of it. For taking or offering up a chief's command vehicle in taking the retired engine in trade. So I just want to go over some key points about purpose of the chief's vehicle and then touch base on the proposal.
So Chief, if I can interrupt, Bev, can you guys hear him?
Oh.
You lean into it.
Sorry.
Okay. Can you hear me now?
Yep.
Okay. All right. So we received a proposal from a emergency vehicle operator or dealer that offered up a Chiefs Command vehicle, a used vehicle that they have available, and it wanted to to do a trade for our retired engine that no longer pumps. So I just wanted to do a quick presentation so you understand the purpose of the Chiefs Command vehicle, and then touch base on that proposal. So a little bit of information on the demand and activity. Annual call volume, 877 incidents in 2025. Chief has one of the highest response rates in the department, as they should. Includes structure fires, serious EMS calls, motor vehicle crashes, mutual aid response, and other major incidents. And command level response is frequent and operational critical. So it has operational risk exposure, so a delayed command presence it increases scene risk. Early establishment of incident command improves firefighter safety and accountability, reduces operational confusion during high-risk incidents. The most important job for a fire chief when functioning as incident command and control at a serious incident is firefighter accountability. A proper command vehicle outfitted with a command post can be the difference between a poorly managed incident with mistakes and accidents and a smooth incident that limits mistakes and mishaps and ensures resources are managed efficiently and the mission is completed without injuries. The liability and risk of the use of a personal vehicle. Obviously, personal auto policies may exclude emergency response activities. Coverage disputes may arise between personal and municipal insurers, and increased litigation exposure in the event of a collision while responding to an emergency. It's becoming increasingly difficult to find insurance coverage for my personal vehicle due to the work use. This year, I had to find a new insurance company to insure my vehicle, and my rates also increased, even though I have no claims on my record, for the fact that I use it for emergency response in my regular work. Department-issued vehicle ensures clear municipal coverage, documented maintenance and inspection schedules, and proper emergency lighting and communications, and safety equipment. A command console in the back of an SUV provides the perfect opportunity to bring copies of run cards, pre-plans, and additional incident command and fire investigation equipment to the scenes that otherwise can't be available if I'm operating in my personal vehicle. Dedicated command vehicles reduce preparation delay, ensures availability of radios, command boards, pre-plans, and technology, and supports coordinated response with mutual aid partners. And I have a couple of examples here. This is the command box in the Buxton Fire Chief's vehicle that was designed themselves and built out of wood. That's actually a very nice setup. I've been able to utilize that with him at incidents, at their incidents. And that white command board there is what you use to organize the staff, keep everything in place where you know who's doing what, and everything has a place. Everything has a place for stuff to go to identify which units are actively working on the fire ground, where they are on the fire ground. So there's no question about, okay, who's operating on the second floor in the rear of this building, who's operating on the first floor, who might be operating in the basement. Everything can be identified clearly on that board. So if there's any concern or any issue, somebody's looking for somebody can't find someone, we can sit here and say, okay, that person was with this this group or this this particular company, and they were last identified and reported as being in the basement, working on overhaul, and we can send someone to know exactly where they were last, pinpoint their location so we can find them. If in case they get disoriented, we know where they were. Everything's on the command board. And what's also nice is if something was to happen to the incident commander for some reason, everything's on that command board. It's not up in the commander's head. If something happens and the commander goes down, slip on the ice and hit their head and now they're unconscious, somebody else needs to take over incident command. And with a properly established command board in their command post in their vehicle, someone can step up there, look at the board, and know where everybody is, and there's no question. This is another example. These are a couple of examples what the Waterboro chief and deputy chief's consoles look like. Those are manufactured consoles, significantly more expensive for a manufactured console. I think in your proposal there's actually an estimate for like $8,000 for a manufactured console. I wouldn't want to do that. I like the idea of being able to design a console that fits our needs, and we have plenty of woodworkers in the department that can build that for us at a very small fraction of that price. So professional municipal representation at emergency and public events. If you have your fire chief in a municipal vehicle that's lettered, demonstrates proactive risk management by the select board and aligns with best practices in comparable Maine municipalities. Did some research with this, and there's actually another slide a little bit further back where it was identified back in 2021 that the fire chief in Hollis was the only active full-time fire chief in the county of York that did not have a department-issued vehicle. And there was a recommendation at that point to obtain one in the foreseeable future. And I have that quote on another slide. Some of the important pieces to note is that when you think about liability, the town still holds equal liability whether I'm operating in my personal vehicle or a town or department-owned vehicle. The difference is the municipality can't control that liability. If I'm operating in my personal vehicle, it's my choice if I replace the tires or replace the brakes, if I forget to get the vehicle inspected, something happens and it's determined that any of those are a cause, or if it's not, hasn't been inspected, inspection's overdue and the vehicle technically shouldn't be on the road, we're automatically at fault. And because the town did not provide a department-issued vehicle, the town still holds liability for whatever happens. And the difference being, if the town owns the vehicle, they have a fleet maintenance that will monitor that, make certain that it does not go without an inspection sticker. If it needs tires, it needs brakes. When it's inspected, they simply say, Chief, the vehicle needs brakes. You know, they're on their way. You can pick this up tomorrow. And it gets taken care of without question. So that liability is mitigated and minimized because it's a department-owned vehicle and maintenance is insured. So risk summary and recommendations. Without a department-issued chief's vehicle, is increased insurance uncertainty, increased legal exposure, and potential delayed command response. The recommendation is the issuance of a department-owned chief's vehicle covered under municipal insurance and maintained under town fleet maintenance. The proposal, emergency vehicle dealers Autotronics, they have obtained a used Ford Expedition 2020. It's got 33,000 miles on it. It's fully upfitted with emergency lights and siren package, and they have proposed taking the retired engine that no longer pumps in trade. And again, a copy of that proposal is, you guys should have that in front of you. I guess my last slide is part of that. The statement made from the gentleman hired to do the fire department evaluation, the consultant that was hired back in 2021. When it comes to fire department apparatus, there was objective number 3 was to acquire a fire chief's vehicle. And the quote from him is, typically career fire chiefs are provided a department vehicle as part of their employment package. Town should consider approving the acquisition of a vehicle for the fire and rescue chief, EMA director within the foreseeable future. Again, that was from the consultant's report in 2021. It goes on to note that it's also listed in the town's comprehensive, I'm sorry. Sorry, that's a different piece. He did make a note of about something in the comprehensive plan. Unfortunately, I don't actually have that with me right now. So the proposal, it's a 2020 Ford Expedition with 33,000 miles on it. Again, fully upfitted with lights and sirens. I did take it to our fleet maintenance providers out in Scarborough to have it fully inspected because it was a used vehicle. I wanted to make sure that there was no reason why we shouldn't buy it before I presented this proposal to you. They said it was in great shape. It was very clean. And discussing the proposal with them, they said it was a very reasonable proposal. They view that truck, if it was sitting on the lot, to be worth $50,000 to $55,000. They estimate $8,000 to $10,000 worth of lights and siren package that's been upfitted. Autotronics offered to us was they're looking at a sale price of $45,000. They have a discount because we're a repeat customer for them. We've purchased fire trucks and ambulances from them before. And $13,500 in trade for the out-of-service fire engine, giving a total, the total difference, $29,000. And we do have available funds in our current fiscal year appropriation to cover that at no additional cost to the taxpayers. We can choose to cover that cost total, or we can make payments, which even if we chose to make payments through the budget process, the funds are in the appropriation that could cover it in next year's budget without making any changes to it. So again, this proposal is available. I know that most of you have had a chance to look at the vehicle. I've got it on an extended test drive for the last 5 days because they wanted me. I told them I needed to take it to show our fleet maintenance, as well as I wanted to have it here tonight for the board to see and take a look at, so that you knew exactly what it was that you'd be approving. And again, this would be at no additional cost to the taxpayers, no need to use TIF dollars. We've got the funds to complete this transaction if the board
It's kind of a
sees fit.
switch off for mileage.
What's that?
Kind of switch off for mileage.
It is. This would eliminate the mileage that we have in the budget for the chief's personal vehicle. Would no longer be necessary. There'd be no longer any mileage. So I'm looking to see if the board is willing to vote to accept this proposal and allow the town manager and I to complete the paperwork and complete this process to do this trade and get the chief's vehicle up and running and in place.
Done? Good?
Yeah.
Okay.
Open for questions, obviously.
Well, let's do it. Let's actually, do we have a motion to acquire a fire chief's vehicle? We'll obviously discuss.
I'll make the motion to open up a discussion.
Yep.
Second.
Okay. Open up for discussion.
I just noted on the Billis invoice or whatever, vehicle is a rebuilt title. Do you know the extent of what happened to that thing? And
Yes, they acquired it. A tree fell, and the branches from the tree took out, it has a sunroof, and the trees took out the sunroof, the damage to the top. It's all been repaired. That repair was inspected by our fleet maintenance and determined to be adequate, no leaking issues. So that's how they acquired it and why it has a rebuilt vehicle title.
okay. Has there been any other offers to buy the 2001?
There's not. We contracted with a clearinghouse, and it's been up at 3 different sites that they advertise on. The clearinghouse was Brindley Mountain, and we have not had any inquiries on that vehicle as of yet. Our last, and to try to put it in perspective, our last crew cab fire engine that we managed to sell, we took bids and sold it. It was a crew cab, 1,000-gallon engine with a functioning 1,250-gallon minute pump. That sold for $7,000. A few years before that, we auctioned through an online auction site a regular commercial cab, 2-seater tank truck that was a 2,500-gallon tank and a functioning 1,250-gallon pump, and that sold at auction for $8,000. So, you know, the 13.5 is a much higher number than we've entertained on other out-of-service vehicles in the past. So I'm actually pleased with that number. They did tell me that they are not interested in just purchasing it. They would do this trade, but otherwise are not interested in the engine if we didn't do a trade. So.
You know, on the additional options, you said that you would have someone from do the woodworking for the rear command center? Yes,
I have one that is one of our full-time employees who does woodworking. I also have one of our call company guys that is a finish carpenter, and both are willing and able to build and construct the command center in the back for the cost of the materials. You know, our full-timer could work on it and do it while he's on shift, so there'd be no additional labor cost.
Do you have an estimate on what it would cost?
It was, he said, well under $1,000, and in comparison to a manufactured console that is over $8,000, then it's going to depend on the materials. Obviously, you know, when you talk about, you know, drawers and whatnot to be able to put the, you know, our information, our pre-plans in our incident run cards and so forth. There'd be 1 or 2 drawers, the board for the incident command board. It'd have a place to mount mobile radios in the back, a place to mount a water can, fire extinguisher, and so forth, and a place to put my fire gear. So that's roughly how it would look, and to be able to have, you know, the slide out drawers and whatnot. It's all materials and hardware to build it. So he estimated, he told me it'd be less than $1,000 was his expectation.
And then you said that you had the money in the budget to fully pay for this?
Correct. Yep.
From this year's budget?
From our current fiscal appropriation from this current fiscal year, yes.
One other question on the invoice that says that the 2001 must pass a Maine state inspection. Does that mean the sticker's out on it now and it needs to pass it, and anything that happens we have to pay for?
Its last inspection sticker was last year in 2025, but the dealer did, so in this process to make sure we're all doing our due diligence and the inspections were done, that dealer currently has that vehicle at their shop in Bangor where they've done an inspection, and he's gotten back to me and has given the approval on this proposal as written after he's inspected that vehicle. We worked out that swap so that our fleet maintenance could inspect this vehicle. I wanted them to look at it because it was a used vehicle. They also wanted to look at the engine. So that was completed, and yesterday he gave me the approval that this quote stands. This proposal stands after inspecting that truck.
What's your estimated lifespan you'll get out of this?
I mean, it's only got 33,000 miles on it right now. I would like to say I would like to expect to see, could be 7 to 10 years, all depending on the amount of miles that goes onto it, would be I would say the expectation.
Are there any used car experts in the audience that would want to comment on a 2020 Expedition?
I was gonna get up after he was done. He broke it down for me. He broke the prices down for me in the parking lot. I can tell you that if that car was on my lot, it would be listed for more than they're asking. So the rebuilt title, I'm sure, plays into something. We sell 90% of the cars I sell on my lot are rebuilt title cars. They'll give it a rebuilt title for almost nothing nowadays, especially something that new. The last, I want to say, similar vehicle that I sold was, I believe, a 2019 with close to 100,000 miles, and it was somewhere around $5,000 less than their original asking price for that one, and that was last year sometime. So very reasonable as far as I'm concerned. Some weeks I spend more time watching used car auctions than I do watching my kids. So I spend a bit of time watching those cars go across the block, and it's, for all it seems reasonable. It doesn't seem ridiculous. The inspection sticker thing, there's no reason that they would sell it without an inspection sticker. They have to make sure that it meets inspection standards before they'll sell it. Otherwise, they have to go.
This was for them to buy ours.
Oh, okay. That's different.
Chris said that's all been.
Okay.
All been done.
All right.
How do you feel about the price we're getting for the used fire engine that doesn't work?
I'm not gonna lie to you. I sent Chris a couple of them actually. Used fire apparatus at some of the auctions that I watch, and it's peanuts. They're a intended use vehicle, and once that intended use can't be met anymore, it's somebody repurposing it into some cool drive it around the town showpiece, or a community very much in need of some sort of fire apparatus that maybe will pick it up. But I showed him some of the stuff that I can buy at auction, and like I said, it's peanuts. I could buy a fire truck for $5,000, and the fact that they're willing to give us what they're willing to give us, again, it's an intended use thing. The vehicle serves a purpose, and that purpose, it can no longer meet those needs. So it's, you take what you can get for it, and understand that that's the nature of the beast, I think.
Okay.
Thank you.
Any more discussion?
Anybody on Zoom?
Yeah, we can probably take the presentation down, kind of go to. Anybody on Zoom have comment or question? Anybody else in the audience have comments, question? Dan, do you want to restate the motion?
So I made a motion to approve trading the 2001 Fiera HME custom cab engine for a 2020 Ford Expedition SUV for a chief's vehicle.
I second that.
So we'll take a vote. We'll start from, if you second it, yay.
Yeah.
Mary?
Aye.
And I vote aye as well. Thank you very much, Chris, for that.
Do we have to tell Chris how we want it paid for?
I looked at it, it looked like something that Tiger Wood would be driving.
It is pretty flashy, yeah.
I guess that's the benefit of finding a used one. It has a little more bells and whistles than if someone would buy it new. And to put in a concept, Goodwin's Mills bought a brand new one this past year, brand new Tahoe outfitted, and that price was nearly $100,000. So we're saving a significant amount of money, and again, being able to do this out of our current fiscal appropriation. There's no additional cost to the taxpayers. Okay. There's no additional tax for this. There's no using TIF funds. So I appreciate you guys saying yes and approving this. Thank you.
Thank you, Chris. Mary, you said something?
I just wanted to know if we had to make a motion about how he's going to pay for it. I would prefer he just pays it off and we don't enter into a payment arrangement.
Yeah, I guess the motion didn't talk about how Chris was going to pay for it, even though he explained it out of his existing fiscal year budget.
Yeah, there was, I guess, technically there was two options, right? We could do payments over the next 3 or 4 years. That would be roughly $8,000. There would be some interest involved if we did it that way. Or like I said, out of our current fiscal budget, we could cover the entire cost and save on that interest, and get it taken care of. But
Mary, do you want to make a motion to,
I make a motion, we pay it off.
Second.
all in favor?
Aye,
All right, thank you, Chris.
thank you.
thanks.
All right. Going on almost 2 hours, so I'm gonna try to get through some of these pretty quickly. We have a vacancy for a general assistant administrator effective June 2026. Mary, did you want to talk about that?
And so we have a job description that's available. We're going to put it in the paper. The end date to submit would be the 24th of March because we'd like to start training before the end of June. It'd be up to 10 hours a week. As many of you might be aware, is a 24/7 phone response. I don't get very many calls at midnight. Most of my calls are early in the morning. And during town hall hours, you have to be able to provide the paperwork and contact the GA administrator to schedule an appointment. But it isn't really, a big deal. So if you want to talk to me about it, feel free to give me a call, and I'll certainly talk to you about it. But we'd like to fill the position so we can get some training in.
Great. Thank you, Mary.
You're welcome.
The next item is select board contact pathway through website. This is my agenda item. I've gotten a couple emails or a couple actually verbal requests to have, and I've actually seen a comment on Facebook as well about there is nothing on our website that allows our residents to contact the select board directly. And so to rectify that, I don't believe we should have, and let me just give some history. When we appointed a town manager, when we hired a town manager, that is the point of contact for most of our residents for the things that they need to contact the town about. However, and so we took the Ask the Select Board button, I guess it would be off the website, because the town manager's email is on the website and he can be contacted that way. However, I do believe that we should probably have some sort of pathway for our residents to contact the select board. I do not believe it should be emails of the select board because honestly, we don't want a resident to email a select board member and they don't see that email and it's urgent that we see it. We don't share emails, of course. So my recommendation would be to create basically a group email that goes either to Bennett and Bennett forwards it to us, or maybe a group email that just goes, I should say, an email distribution list, which would just automatically go to all 5 select board members and probably the town manager as well, but probably just the 5 select board members to start. So that's what I was thinking. Do you want to discuss it or at all, or is that something, anyone have any objection to that? I know Roger's not here to really give his input, so we could table that if you want. It's not urgent.
I don't really have an objection to it. I mean, I think it's a good idea to have it go out to everybody so somebody will respond.
Yeah.
It would be nice if somebody chooses to respond, that they at least let everybody else know that they responded, so we all don't give a slightly different taste.
True.
So,
Any other comment? Do we want to table this until Roger gets back, or do we feel like we want to just basically add the button back in? Bennett, just feel free to, if there's anything you want to weigh in on.
My question would be would you want an online form that would go to this email address that then can be distributed to all of the select board members?
That sounds.
Or would you like a direct email that will just automatically go? It's either in a form or in an email.
I feel like the form's a good way because then, because if it was just an email, they would have to have a mail client or they'd have to copy the email into a webmail if that's how they use it. But if we have a form, that's null and void. They can just, it emails to us. So that's probably how we'd want to go.
And they don't have to necessarily put their email back for a response.
Mm-hmm.
They can just give their comments if they want to and leave it at that, or make it anonymous. However, I think a form is a good choice.
Yeah, and in terms of ask, I'm not sure if I like ask the select board necessarily. It just basically just like, contact the select board and it could be whatever they want to say at that point, right?
Yep, we can do that.
Cool.
What I can do is I can develop it and then send it out to the board just to get your okay and then post it online.
Thank you.
Okay, well, Chair would, well, I'm gonna just, we can discuss it more, but the Chair would entertain a motion to put a contact the select board link form back on the hollismaine.org website.
So moved.
Say, I have a second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, thank you.
I love this, so moved.
So moved, so moved. Actually, I got to give Tommy some credit. I hear that in the plan board meetings, and I was like, that's efficient. All right, so we have appointments to the TIF and the TIF Fund Study Committee, as well as the elected to appointed. And I'm very, very excited about the volunteers. We have 11, volunteers for the elected to appointed, and we have 10 for the how to use the TIF funds committee, I should say. And that's the only one that we need to kind of talk about because it's an even number and it should be odd. So we technically said 9, but I don't want to deny this last person their voice or whatnot, so it would have to be something to the effect of that one person would be a non-voting member.
I disagree with that. I think that if you have 10 members and you get a split vote, 5 to 5, maybe they need to compromise a little bit. And I don't really think with that specific committee is going to be a problem.
Okay.
I mean, if it is, then, but I think I would personally like to just appoint anybody who submitted an application because they took the time to, get us an application.
Oh, I'm definitely saying we accept everybody, but do we want to make
But I
some
think
sort-
that the committee itself could decide when they meet on how they want to handle the even number.
Okay.
But that's only my opinion.
No, I think it's a great, I think we appoint everyone that wants to serve on the committee 100%. I just, and we could, like you said, we could leave it to the committee to figure out what a tie break looks like. Or maybe the chair of the committee could excuse themselves except for a tie break, something along those lines maybe. But yeah, we could leave that to, we don't have to put that in the motion to accept the committee members, so.
But people have been very anxious to find out if they're accepted, so we probably need to read the names or something.
You want to read the names?
Oh, no.
And just my point on the even number, we have a 5-member select board, and, it's very rare that we can all make ourselves available, and
I don't have a
if
list.
all 10 people make it to every meeting, that would be
Good point.
buy a lottery ticket.
On that, based on that number. So, let's see, for the evaluation committee using TIF funds for public works and public safety departments, we'd like to appoint Christopher Young, Dave Stewart, Emily Bear, Alan Scott, Robert Hanson, Joseph Ponzetti, Paul Rondu, Coco Hurstel. If I mispronounce your name, I apologize. And Peter Buzzell Jr., and last but not least, Karen Westcott.
Thank you very much.
And then for the other committee, more names.
Pass that down here, like,
Which one?
for some of you, please.
We'd like to appoint, she made it very complicated, no. Donald Moran, James Booton, Terry Walters, Rebecca Bali, Gerald Butch Gannett, my old Bruce Gannett, Joseph Ponzetti, Nancy Ponzetti, Beverly Harris, Paul Mator, Deborah Scalise, and Scott Wintle. So congratulations, and thank you so much for applying, because a lot of times we don't have a lot of people apply for things, so thank you for getting back to us.
Should I make a motion to appoint everyone that Mary just read? On the
So moved.
I love that idea.
committee, she just said that they're going
Yes,
to be on.
please make a motion. And you said,
I'll make a motion, we appoint all the names Mary just read to the committees she just said that they applied for.
Oh, and I probably didn't, the last 11 were for the study committee on hiring versus elected. Please change the name.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
I think Terry had some, Mike, I think Terry had a question or comment.
Oh,
Sure.
sorry.
Just a point of procedure, Mike, do you contact the committee members? And so, I mean, at some point, we have to initiate having meetings.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
Do you contact us and tell us that
I'm going to defer to more tenured members of the board to tell me what has been done in the past. I think it would be really good if we initiated the committees. What have we done in the past, Jack or Mary?
Well, I think we've just notified everybody and tried to come up with a date that worked for the most number of people.
because each committee will appoint their own chairman.
Right,
so
and then they'll,
we just got to
But
get
you gotta
organized.
Together first
Yeah,
to appoint a
exactly.
chairman.
right.
Dick, do you have any history in how the best way to, have you had a large committee before and other,
Not had it, no.
okay?
I know well, I think that we'll send them either a communication that we welcome them, ask them to form, their first scheduled meeting, and maybe I can attend to understand what their intent is and how they plan on proceeding.
Okay. Bennett, from a technology standpoint, is there anything that you would suggest in terms of getting word to all these people other than an email to all of them type of thing?
Yeah, well, I know that the town clerk usually will reach out and let people know that they need to come in and take their oath, do their paperwork, and then at that
Yeah, I've
point,
not seen the applications, but we must have contact information.
We
on
do.
it.
We do, yeah.
Yes.
We have emails, phone numbers,
Okay.
addresses, so we can certainly reach out and contact everybody.
yeah,
Okay.
we usually do it in a group email for communities like that.
And then it's sort of like any other group that meets. I mean, I know the Bar Mills decommissioning just sort of goes back and forth until they get a time to meet.
It's kind of
So,
self-governing.
Yep.
Okay. That sounds great. Is that good with you, Terry? Okay, great. Awesome. Okay, so we are on bank reconciliations. I'm going to hand it to Mary again.
And I think that we talked for a while about hiring the auditors to do the bank reconciliations, and I don't know if we want to have Dick review with him what his thoughts are, because right now I think we're at April of 2025, and we're already at February 2026, and every single audit that I've read since I've been here, they recommend that you do your bank reconciliations within the next month. So, because by then you should be able to get the paperwork from the bank and be able to go through the process. So I'd like to ask Dick to talk to the auditor when he does meet with him this week.
Day after tomorrow.
So put it on your laundry list.
Happy to do so.
Thanks.
Oh, that's a good lead into town manager updates.
Well, we got the mandatory 30 minutes.
Oh, I'm sorry. I skipped one. I did that last time.
So we've also, and I'll let Dick address it too, we've talked about this for a while because the Department of Labor says that if you work 6 hours, you need to have a mandatory 30-minute staff break or lunch. That's generally, if you take it, is unpaid. But if you have a small department, you can have them sign a waiver saying that they're going to not take the 30-minute break time, not have an assigned break time, and instead do it when they can, and it will be paid. So it's just an opportunity for each employee to decide what they want to do with their 30-minute break time. Do you have anything to add, Dick?
No, I think it's an important step in the direction of an organization and managing the presence at the desk and kind of being in touch with each other so they know what they're going to be doing during each day.
Because the Department of Labor also has section 601, and it's very short, that says rest breaks, that, that the employer can make an agreement to either, have them have a set break time or for them to waive. But they say in small businesses, fewer than 3 employees are on duty at any one time, and the nature of the work done by the employee allows the employee frequent paid breaks of a shorter duration during the employee's workday. And many of our employees are very independent and have specific jobs that they do, so they really don't have someone that covers for them. So I think we should at least give them the opportunity to make a decision on what they want as a person to do.
Absolutely.
Great.
So I developed a form, and I'd like to ask Dick to survey the groups.
Sure.
You're welcome. Because on a lot of them, we've talked to people, but we've never really gotten something signed. That sort of makes it more official if the Department of Labor were to come visit us.
Well, I don't like to look at the dim side of things, but when we have a signed document that says I choose this or choose that, we don't have to wonder what we might encounter later on.
Got it.
So anyway,
All right.
thank you.
Thank you, Mary. Town manager updates.
I have nothing. These people want to go home sometime tonight, I think. All I can tell you is I've been behind a computer doing budget and more budget, and when I'm done with that budget, I do another budget, and we're drawing close to the end. I've got a couple more categories, and I think we'll be done by next week, Tuesday. Beyond that, I got to tell you, that's where my focus has been.
You've spent a considerable amount of time on budgets, and basically kind of just figuring it out as you go, or not figure it out as you go, but very little, background or support, just figuring it out, and you've done a great job at that, and thank you very much.
Thank you.
And so our plan as a select board is we're going to just review them, and if we have a specific question for a department, we'll ask them to come just explain it. I don't think there's a lot of budgets that we're going to have a specific question on, so.
Okay. I don't have payroll and warrant totals.
Aha, don't give them to me. I reverse numbers. I'll have us paying $1 million out this week.
I'll just read this out. Expedient. Payroll last week was $34,409. Payroll this week was $36,463. The warrant last week was $32,164, and the warrant this week is $157.51. Thank you, Bennett. Purchase orders, any? None. Wonderful. Correspondence and announcements. Does someone want to do this? Dan?
Yeah, I can do it.
Thanks.
All right, nomination papers have been available at the Hollis Town's Clerk office since Tuesday for the following positions. 2 positions of Select Board Overseer, Select Board Assessor and Overseer of the Poor for 3-year terms expiring in June 2029. 1 position for Town Clerk for a 3-year term expiring June 2029. And 1 Road Commissioner for a 2-year term expiring June 2028. Nomination paper deadline for submissions is Thursday, April 9th at 4 p.m. No faxes or emails are accepted. The Hollis Annual Town Meeting will be held Tuesday, June 9th, 2026. Absentee ballot applications will be available beginning March 12th. 2026 by calling 929-8552 extension 27 or in person at the Hollis Town Hall. Absentee ballots will be available 30 days before the election. Roads have been posted for heavy load limits in effect as of February 23rd. That's going to be posted until May 1st. The list of roads and a request form for permits are on our website or by contacting the road commissioner. There is a reminder for requests for Spirit of America nominations, as well as Narragansett #1 applications. And that's it for correspondence.
Thank you, Dan. I wanted to just circle back with one thing about the select board, contact the select board thing. I just thought of something. I think it's really important that we also have some sort of disclaimer about getting back to them so they don't think that this is like the way to do it, right? So we don't want them, if they're looking to get, some action, that the town manager, I think something verbiage, does that make sense? Okay, I just want to make sure we did, that just came to mind.
And then I just have two real quick announcements.
Okay.
So the York County Budget Committee is looking for people to volunteer to be on the Budget Committee starting this year. We're District Number 3, Buxton, Hollis, Old Orchard Beach, and Saco. They have a total of 2 elected positions and a public position. Currently, our public position is, I think, filled. It says vacant, so I guess she must be up again to be elected. But the problem is if we have a public person, which we've had, then one of the elected people from the town can't be on the committee too. So if the public person doesn't want to be, maybe we'll have an elected person. But it's going to be on April 8th, which is a Wednesday, at 6:30 p.m. This is the most important part because Jack and I went last time. In order to be successful, elected officials from the 29 cities and towns should plan to attend because elected municipal officers have to vote to seat budget committee members. And Jack and I went last time and voted our rep, which is right now Becky Bali, but she's up for re-election if she wants it, or if somebody else wants to throw in the hat, please feel free. And then the other thing is that we got a clink statement back, and we collect bottles and cans for the heat fund, and we got $160.20, and then from through 1/31/26, and we got a check for $156.95 because we have to pay for the bags themselves. There's some fees attached. And then I want to thank the Masonic Lodge because they did donate to the heat fund today, and as many of you know, we do use a lot of money with the heat fund. I did contact Poland Spring, Blue Triton, Frimo, and they're going to donate $5,000 for this year.
That's great.
Thanks.
Thank you,
Where
Mary.
can we get those clink bags if we want one?
They're available in the town office. Usually, as you walk in, they're usually in between the two. Yeah.
I do believe heating oil has gone up significantly, and so those funds might be
Very useful.
very useful in the very near future.
And people in the town are very responsive. A lot of people ask me how we're doing with our heat fund. Do we need resources? So
That's great. Any other business before we move on?
Yeah, I saw Chris, I know I was going to see Dick today on it, about incident reports, but Chris said he'd have them in a couple weeks for me. Bennett, did Robbie give you usage sheets?
He did. They're electronic, and I emailed them to you.
Okay, thank you.
I can print some off if you need it.
Anything else? There is no executive session. Upcoming town committee and board meetings. Finance committee meeting on Tuesday, March 10th at 6 p.m. Planning board meeting on Wednesday, March 11th at 7 p.m. Select board meeting on Wednesday, March 18th at 6 p.m. There's a conservation commission meeting on Thursday, March 19th at 5:30. And there's a sport complex committee meeting on Tuesday, March 19th at 7 p.m. At this
and
point.
then an additional meeting is on March 10th, the Comprehensive Plan Committee is meeting at 9 a.m., so,
Great.
thanks.
All right, at this time, we will open it up to public comment in the room. I gave the online folks the ability last time. I'm going to start with the in-room folks. Anybody have public comment?
Jack's go.
Bev Harris, River Road. I've had people contact me because they know I come to the meetings, and so they had questions and they wanted me to ask them of you, so here we go. Are you given, the select board, are you given the chance to look at the budgets before they're presented to the budget committee?
I haven't seen it.
Nope.
No.
How come? Don't you get a chance to weigh in on them at all?
Yes, we will when we do our review after they're done with them.
Okay,
We'll
so,
review.
but you don't weigh in beforehand?
No, the majority, most of us have been attending the meetings and weighing in as the meeting goes on.
Okay, that was one of the questions. Another question was, why do we need to hire someone to clean at the Salmon Falls Library? When she gets paid for 20 hours a week to work, and she's only open 14. That's 6 hours a week. What is she doing with those 6 hours?
I don't know.
Does anybody know?
Yeah, she also does, she reviews books and books that she wants to purchase. She talks to the Hollis Center Library to make sure that they're not purchasing the same books, so we have more available books in the town. And she does, gets the books ready for putting on the shelves.
But that's 24 hours a month that she has. She can't be just doing that.
I believe it's a suggestion at this point, and we don't require our town employees to clean this municipal building, but you believe that the librarian should clean her own clean the library. Is that your statement?
I feel that way. I don't know about others, and the woman who called me felt that as well.
Okay.
I think that it was for more of a deep cleaning and really getting all
Once a
the,
month.
yeah.
But
once a
how
month.
often?
Once a month.
So within her 24 hours, she couldn't find a couple of hours to clean?
We, again, don't ask our town employees to deep clean this municipal building. It doesn't seem like it would be appropriate for her to have a librarian, her duties to involve deep cleaning the library.
Because I don't think Hollis Center hires somebody to clean theirs. They do it. And what happened to the Salmon Falls Library Friends Club?
You'd have to ask the Salmon Falls Library Friends Club about what's happened to them.
I mean,
There's
if
still
they-
very few people around, and the reason the town got the Salmon Falls Library back was because there was nobody that was willing to oversee it or be part of the library.
Okay, because I just know that they used to be there, and they used to do a lot of stuff for it, and I wondered, why are they not still there?
Ask them, yeah.
Yeah.
Let us know what they say.
Okay, the other one was, why was the budget for the tax collector built on what was projected for last year, not what was spent? So like it was built for the $49,000 that last year was approved by the budget committee, at which time we all thought that Anna would be back. And as we know from the meeting in November, people were not happy with the tax collector getting a huge salary increase at that time. And if you give it to her now, then you're upping her salary by like $13,000. Why that much when the rest of the town employees aren't going to get that much?
Well, the rest of the town employees that are elected get the same salary as she does. With last year, they did a little longevity bonus, so some of them get a little bit more, but they get the same salary. It's an elected position, and the salaries have been the same except for last year since I've been here.
So if last year, the 49,000 that was projected to be used included the longevity, why would that be being used now?
I don't
Why wouldn't the
understand the
longevity
question.
be taken out?
Pardon?
Why wouldn't the longevity be taken out
She
of
didn't
that?
get longevity last year. She just got a base salary, a base amount per hour,
Yes,
right?
but the 49,000 that was allocated or approved by the budget committee, did that not include the longevity?
I guess I don't have the budget stuff here to look at what. It was, the longevity was separate. Yeah,
Okay,
Separate.
yeah.
okay, these were questions I was asked, and so
So I'll weigh in on the library. I think it's important that the library get cleaned periodically by a professional, and I agree with that. It's not fair. It's not part of her job description. I really, if that's how Hollis Center Library chooses to clean their library, that's up to them. But I really feel very strongly that that building needs to be cleaned. I know that we paid a significant amount of money when they were doing the rehab to have the attic clean. So I think it's important. I don't know what the rest of the board thinks, but I think it's important.
well, then I think that she should have to account for those extra 24 hours a month that she's there, that the library is not open. Because
Follow up on that.
that's quite a few hours to be paid for if you're really not doing a whole lot.
Well, we can certainly ask her to give us an accounting for what she does with her hours.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Thanks. Any other public comment? Any other public comment online or on Zoom? I will entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion as the time we adjourn.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you,
Tom?
everybody.
Tom, could I see you for a quick second? And I need the other set. So you done your policy?